They're not. They're.
For next.
Well, no. What they did is they
Yeah, you're like,
I want it off.
what's that? I'm sorry. I can't hear you. Yes, but it was for the, yes, kind of. I'll let you know. I passed out some, applications as that. Exactly. There you go. Sorry. Go. Waiting for me. Oh, okay.
All right. I need a motion to reconvene in open session, please.
So moved.
It's been
Second.
moved. Seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And aye as well. Motion carries 5-0-0. Pledge of Allegiance, please. Flags over there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So I move to adopt the agenda, moving the recognition, item 3F, to after 3C.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, any other changes to the agenda? All those in favor of the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 5-0-0. Announcement of actions taken into closed session. The board gave staff directions on negotiations with STA, CSEA, and non-represented management. And that was that. And then recognition.
So tonight's another bittersweet night because we're saying goodbye to one of our longtime adored employees. Yesterday, and this is not made up, I was standing in the bus line at Buena Vista with a sixth grader waiting for the buses to come. And she just randomly looks at me and goes, "I don't want JR to retire." And I go, "I don't either." I go, but he's earned it. He's going to go with his family. She got a little bit teary. She goes, "I've known him since kindergarten. He's the nicest man in the world." And I mean, she speaks for everybody, JR. You've treated the kids, and he has a lot of different roles. He's a bus driver, but he's also been our courier. He's the new duty. He interacts with kids all day long, and they, I think, see him as a grandfather, maybe just an older father. How's that? and the way you treated them has made a difference because, again, that girl, this was not prompt. We were just waiting for the bus, and I'm going to miss JR, and so am I, and so are a lot of people. Heather, do you want to say some more? Sure. Come on up.
Not yet.
It needs to go red.
Hold it.
Hold it, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. When I first started here, I was a sub for noon duty amongst various other positions, and I remember JR approaching me, asking me if I would ever consider bus driving. And at the time, I was like, no way. And then I thought, well, what's the worst case? I go through the training, I get my license, I don't like it, but it turns out I love it. Like with any job, it has its moments, but if he had not given me those words and that prompting, I probably would not have done that. So thank you, JR. He's also been my MacGyver, as I call him, to myself. I never call him that to his face, but if anything needed repair, non-mechanical, JR was the Velcro / duct tape master. And sometimes he would come to me, he's like, "Do you have just a little bit more duct tape or a little bit more Velcro? I need some for my bus." I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to give him any more because at some point we're going to have to clean it off of the bus. But all things aside, it's been a pleasure working with you. You will be greatly missed amongst the staff and the kids, I know. Sad to see you go, but I do always appreciate the times that you have told me after Janie left and I took over for her that you were proud of me and what a great job I was doing. And we like to hear that because sometimes I feel like I had big shoes to fill with Janie and I didn't always feel like I was doing my best job, but when I would hear that, it would just make things so much better. And I've always thought so much of you because he would always tell me, I know how hard he works. He works 3 different positions, and he would always talk about, saving a little money and sending it home to his family in Mexico. And we would go visit, buying gifts for everybody, and how excited they would be. And I just always thought that was just, we all love our families, but I always felt like he went above and beyond. So I hope that they also appreciate how hard you work for them, as well as we appreciate how hard you work for us. I'm sorry that you're leaving. We'll have a big hole in our department. I don't know who's going to help me fix those things, but we'll figure it out. So we love you and we'll miss you.
This thing's still on. So I just want to read this plaque out loud for the record and present it to you, and I guess a photo op too.
Oh,
How do I
I don't know. You can bring yourselves.
The parents, students, and employees of the board and the Board of Trustees of the Spreckels Union School District community commend and honor Eleuterio Garcia Jr., or JR, for 15 years of distinguished service as a bus driver, noon duty supervisor, and district courier. This plaque is presented in appreciation of Mr. Garcia's, or JR, hard work, skill, and dedication to his profession. With this acknowledgement, the Spreckels Union School District honors the years of outstanding service rendered to the district, presented by Grateful District in October 2022.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Individuals desiring to address the board, items not on the agenda. We've got 3 of those tonight. We're going to hear them all. And we'll start with Stephanie Owens. Each speaker has up to 3 minutes, 3 minutes, no more. And wait for the timer, Stephanie, before we get you going. Are you ready, staff, with the timer?
No. Can you hear
Are
me,
you
though?
ready?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Owens. Many of you may know me as Miss Owens, the 8th grade science teacher at VV. Tonight I'm here strictly as a parent of 5th grader who has gone to Spreckels since kindergarten. I'm speaking tonight because I'm very concerned about one of the candidates running for school board, Steve McMurtry. I first became familiar with Mr. McMurtry, when he made my daughter and her friends cry while working as noon duty supervisor at Spreckels. According to the job description for noon duty, he's a keep kids safe, discuss behavior problems with children, and attempt to work out solutions, encourage and promote courtesy among children, and promote pirate traits, and be a bucket filler. The day he upset my daughter and her friends, he showed me that he is not someone I want making decisions for my daughter or any child in this district. My daughter was so upset, she started to cry when I asked her how her day was. After calming down, she told me how Mr. McMurtry yelled at her and her classmates about a misunderstanding amongst 4th graders. No one was hurt, no one was arguing or fighting at the lunch tables, but a piece of food was supposedly tossed and launched on the table. Ms. McMurtry decided the best way to approach the situation was to, sorry, I lost my spot. Bully, yell, berate, and give them an ultimatum. He told them that someone didn't confess about the alleged food toss. No one would get recess that day, and they'd all have to sit at lunch tables. As my daughter sat there while being yelled at, she took it upon herself to say that it was her fault, and so that he would stop yelling at her and her friends, and they can do recess. She was forced to lie because a grown man was yelling and bullying her and her classmates. Unfortunately, this type of behavior is not isolated to children. On his campaign website, I was alarmed at many things. First, he continues to spread misinformation about the district leadership after his facts were proven to be inaccurate. Basically, his running campaign of division when this district needs healing after 3 difficult years. More striking, his website focuses on issues that are not student-centered. For example, he goes on about counting the number of toilets to try to make a case that a new bathroom shouldn't be built. A bathroom? I can think of so many things a prospective board member should be concerned about other than micromanaging the number of toilets at a school. For example, how many students have suffered learning loss or social-emotional trauma due to the pandemic? How many kids are receiving academic support due to the bridging program or emotional support because we hired 2 counselors who are great? How many more qualified teachers and support staff is the district able to attract and retain by working directly with the unions to offer various types of compensation? These essential reports are thanks to the steps taken by the district leadership, this board of trustees, Superintendent Toronto, and Monica Flournoy, our CBO. But unfortunately, Ms. McMurtry does not seem to be concerned with those important issues. He's too busy counting toilets. In closing, I've experienced firsthand the bullying tactics of this man in his interactions with my now 10-year-old. I have also seen this behavior while he bullied district staff and administration during previous board meetings. We need board members who put students first and who have shown commitment and compassion. This is why, as a parent, I urge voters to re-elect our 2 incumbents, Dr. Scott and Dr. Hasagawa, and not to vote with Stephen McMurtry. Thank you, the end, board members, administration, and staff for your dedication to the district, and thank you for your time.
Next, we have Christina Sazi-Jones.
Good evening. My name is Christina Sazi Jones. I've been teaching in the that's coming up next, the Spreckels Union School District for 21 years. First as a 5th grade teacher at Spreckels Elementary, and currently as an 8th grade teacher at Buena Vista Middle School. In addition, I am the president of the Salinas Union High School Board this year. But I am not here tonight in either of those roles. I am here as a community member and as a resident in the 93908, and as a parent of 2 sons who went to school here. My sons are now college graduates. They are both thriving personally and professionally, thanks in part to this district. So, on behalf of my family, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to district leadership for your thoughtful, staunch commitment to the people in the Spreckels School District community. Superintendent Trollo, thank you for your personableness and your professionalism. It is your effortless ability to relate to all people that makes you such a remarkable leader. Ms. Flournoy, thank you for your fiscal responsibility, for your acute attention to detail, and for your meticulous oversight of both human and material resources. I know that we have had more than our fair share of gold stars from the Monterey County Office of Education, and that is all because of you. Principals Sherpinski and Pagaran, who are hopefully watching live, thank you for your positive energy and contagious enthusiasm. Board of Trustees, thank you for your wisdom, for your fiscal stewardship, and for your unwavering support of students and staff during perhaps the most challenging times that our district has ever faced. I know firsthand how difficult it is to make hard decisions for the greatest good. President McDougall and Trustee Adams, thank you for your continued commitment to this district. Trustee Cato, thank you for your service. We will miss you. Thank you for sharing your girls with me. And Trustees Hasagawa and Scott, thank you for running again. Good luck in your campaigns for re-election. I am telling everyone I know to please vote for you because you are the 2 of the best people for this job. You have earned our trust and our support and our respect. It has been an honor and a pleasure to work in this district, mainly because of the people, because of my students and their families, my colleagues, and because of all of you. So with that, thanks again for everything you do.
Thank you.
Next, we have Joseph DeRusi.
Well, I'm missing the game and quality time with my kids, so I'm going to be as brief as I can. My name is Joseph DeRusi, and I am the father of 3 daughters, 2 students at Spreckels, grades 1 and TK, and another soon to start TK. I've been a professional in public education here in Salinas for more than 20 years at several institutions. Currently, I'm the Director of College and Career Readiness and CTE for Rancho Cielo Youth Campus. This is the first live board meeting I've attended as a Spreckels parent, but I have watched many of the streamed meetings, and I'm well versed in public education, organization, and oversight. I'm here tonight for 2 reasons. First, I want to thank the board, Superintendent Turallo, district staff and team. I think my daughter's teacher's here too today. Many unfair criticisms and attacks were made that seemed to have nothing to do with public education, and we're very supportive of the work that you've done. My first grade daughter's first years here were anything but traditional, but she is excelling in all academic areas due to board compliance and the district staff's commitment to student success. My wife and I could have picked any district in the county to raise our 3 girls. We chose Spreckels due to its exemplary student service under Dr. Turallo and current board leadership. For many years, Spreckels leadership has maintained a stellar reputation for its academic programs, fine arts, and music programming, and fiscal oversight. This year, Dr. Turallo read a letter from Dr. Colleen Stanley, CFO at Monterey County Office of Education, the fiscal oversight for districts like Spreckels, and her letter commended the district CBO and fiscal team and made it clear how efficiently Spreckels is run. This brings me to my second reason. I'm concerned about the upcoming board election in November, which could fundamentally change the leadership of the district on the board as well as administrative staff. Dr. Hasagawa and Dr. Scott have proven repeatedly to be reasonable and ethical trustees who have always placed students' well-being ahead of politics. I fully support them. I'm bothered a little bit by emails from Mr. McMurtry. Several of them appear to have images that were taken from the school, and I'm not sure that anyone gave permission for that. that concerns me. He's also someone who works at the school, and I'm wondering if personal political work is taking place during school time. I think Spreckels is a great school district, not just due to its leadership and staffing, but due to the path that this board has set it on. What should also be concerned for many voters is having representation equal to this community. In conclusion, I fully support this board, Superintendent Terrell and his team, and the outstanding and professional educators doing amazing work every day for our kids. Thank you.
All right, we're going to rotate to individuals desiring to address the board's specific agenda items. Stephen McMurtry. Already set the time.
Wow.
Hang on a second.
You guys are really afraid of me, aren't you? You call these people out and you do this to me? I've been coming to this board meeting since February and I've never heard any of this before. What I have to say, I'll post on my website, but I have been working with this board since February, trying to get them to think and have common sense and actually to do what their policies require them to do. The first meeting that I had with Steve, Eric, and one other board member, and my comment to him was, you're the chair of the facility committee. How can you do your job without a master plan? And he said, he got up and walked out of the room, said the meeting's over. So I've not been a favorite person of this board, and as you can tell with my emails and my website that I've been critical, but not critical to the point that it was false. It's all correct. So to hear this tonight from these people, you guys were put up to this. You guys are really afraid of me, a grandparent, and the lies that you said, young lady. This is outrageous. I can't believe it. Please go to my website at stephenmcmurtry.com to see the truth. And I will post tonight the 3 pages that I was going to state tonight. And I've worked with JR, with those students in that lunchroom, and he will vouch for me. What you said, young lady, is false. And I can't believe that you would allow this, and you put them up to it, Stephen. This is outrageous, my God.
That was about Citizens Oversight Committee. So the next 3 minutes is for Business B action item, energy services.
Thank you for doing that, Stephen.
That's what I'm supposed to do. Proceed.
Okay, 3 minutes. Energy service proposal, cost $2.6 million. This energy service proposal has not met the facilities master plan review per district facilities regulation number 7110 and policy number 7000. Facilities master plan. The governing board recognizes the importance of long-range planning for school facilities in order to address changes in student enrollment and in the district's educational program needs. The superintendent or designee shall develop with board approval, a main plan for district facilities which describes the district's anticipated short and long-term facilities needs and priorities. And that doesn't exist today, and it's part of their requirements. Plan development. The district facilities master plan shall be based on the assessment of the conditions and adequacy of existing facilities, a projection of future enrollment, and alignment of facilities with the district's vision for the instructional program. Does not exist, and they have a policy that they need to follow, and they're not following it. There have been no review by a qualified district facility committee per district facility regulations, again, 7110, policy 7000. To solicit board input into the planning process, the superintendent or designee may establish a facilities advisory committee consisting of staff, parents, guardians, and businesses, local government, and other community representatives. The district also shall ensure that the public is informed of the need for construction and modernization of the facilities and of the district's plans for the facilities. The governing board recognizes that one of its major responsibilities is to provide healthful, safe, and adequate facilities that enhance the instructional program. The board shall endeavor to make the provision of adequate school facilities a priority in the district. The board shall strive to have a school facility master plan in place and regularly reviewed considering the district's educational goals. That does not exist, and they've had that policy for over a decade. Why are you removing existing gas HVAC equipment and replacing it with electrical HVAC on buildings that may need to be torn down or replaced? You've already tore down buildings, and this is a 100-year-old school, and there's no documented inspections on any of it. You guys have no idea what condition your facility's in. And the solar panels that you're suggesting in this proposal are going to cover the grassy field where the students play. There are more important facility concerns of a higher priority that must be documented and reviewed before this project is ever considered for approval. This board cannot approve this item without further discussion and review as required by existing district policy and regulations. Thank you.
Bargaining unit presentations. Let's start with CSEA. Did you want to speak tonight? Come on up. I know you don't like the mic, but please, thank you.
Hopefully I don't mess this up. Good evening. This year has already been a better start than last year. With COVID restrictions over, it has been great to see things return to pre-COVID normal. I know it's been a little more difficult for staff with staffing deficits throughout the district. I think it's fair to say we have all done our best to adapt and do what we have to do to fill the gaps. Hopefully it's only temporary, my new favorite word, temporary. And again, thank you for the continued support of the staff, both classified and certificated. We appreciate the work you do alongside of us. Thank you.
And STA.
Hello, I'm Stephen Dodd, the president of Spreckels Teachers Association. So, based on the conversations that I've had with the STA members, the general consensus is they're very pleased with how the negotiations process has gone so far. Our negotiations team has reported back to the general membership and had favorable comments, particularly about the amenable and respectful nature of those sessions. So thank you for that, for those who involved in that. Last weekend, there was the return of the Spreckels Carnival, which I understand was a smashing success. So a shout out, thank you to the parents and staff members, PTO, everybody who made that happen. Currently at BV, we're engaged in homeroom competitions, each grade level, and those homerooms are competing to see who's the king of the court, king or queen of the court in volleyball. And both the participants and the general audience are really enjoying that. It's sometimes a little too much cheering, if you ask me, but it's okay. We're making it work. Our ASB elections are in full swing. Some very creative campaigning materials. I think I've only seen 2 instances of what might be federal elections violations. I think some other election material was removed, but they're very enthused about their chance of representing the school. So big shout out to them. And finally, our sports teams are enjoying some success. Many of them are. And again, there's this kind of return to normal feeling out there, and it is refreshing. And just a shout out to Dr. Tarallo for keeping the wheels on the bus going round and round while Ms. Pagarin is doing her on her leave.
The secretary doesn't agree with you.
Oh, well, sometimes she's wrong.
All right.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you.
Board member comments. I'll start down at the end with Dr. Scott.
Yeah, I also attended the carnival, and I had a great time, and I just want to appreciate everyone, including the PTO president and everyone involved, for all the work they did. I saw lots of kids having fun. The goldfish line to win the goldfish was pretty popular, as was the petting zoo, and it was great to see, this back to normalcy again, being able to. I've been to the carnival once before at Spreckels, and it was nice to have it again. So thank you, much appreciated, and that ends my comments.
Okay. Dr. Hasagawa.
No comment.
Stephanie?
So I was going to talk to you about some of the wonderful events that have started to be offered again, and it's just so wonderful to see so many families engaged. Back to school night as well happened, and just to see families being able to come on campus, meet their teachers, and also socialize with each other, right, for that support. So that was great, the carnival as well, and I hope families continue to feel engaged and want to be a part of the community here and get involved. We'll hear from PTO and SUEF as well too, so those are great opportunities for families to continue to get involved. I also wanted to just share, so I've participated through the Monterey County Office of Education, the Inside Education cohort. So that's going to be, I believe it's 6 sessions throughout this school year. And I get to participate with other educators, board trustees, and really it's open to a lot of different positions throughout the county to learn about different aspects of the education system. And I had the opportunity to learn at the last one, it's a half day about special education in the county. And it was really a tremendous opportunity to learn more. And as I've reached out to our own Ms. Ammon, I want to learn more. And it's really important for me to learn as much as I can about the district and all of the different aspects so that I can hopefully support it. And I'm looking forward to the upcoming cohorts sessions as well too to learn more. So thank you.
Jen?
Okay, I'm shaking. I always do countdowns, and I'll start crying. So sorry. I'll start with the happy ones first. So November 11th, I know that's after. So before we even get to November, we'll have another board meeting. I believe that's my last one. It's going to be hard for me. I really, I genuinely value our district and all the people that make up our district. It's incredibly special, as many people have said that tonight. And I thought I'd be so thrilled to get out of this, but I'm realizing how hard it's going to be to not be here anymore. And I also wanted to say that Halloween is coming up. That's one of my favorite times of year, especially for the Spreckels district, for the Spreckels kids. I love their costume party. And I just want to throw out, I would be so thrilled to see some amazing science costumes. So if anybody out there's listening, I'm looking for some E. coli, you know, I'll help you out. So I just wanted to say thank you.
I went to Carnival. That was a few folks. Wow. And I ended my tour of the carnival with a stop at the produce stand, and I carried home a produce box. There's still a little bit left. I don't like celery. Anybody want celery? Anytime TNA puts celery on that field over there and the wind blows in my bedroom, I can't sleep. When they put onions in there, I order pizza in the middle of the night, though. So that being said, scheduled to do site visits next week, I think
13th.
Thursday the 13th. I'm going to have to put the word tentatively around that. Hopefully it happens. I might have to leave town, but we'll see. Hopefully not. And then I'm just looking forward to that and watch instruction happen in real time, as it should. That's all I have to say. Moving on to oral and written communications. Do we have any?
We actually do. We have one. I'm sorry. We have one actually from the BV Library, as most of you know, is a partnership between the school and the library system. And without a doubt, maybe Dr. Hasagaya might be up there as far as one of the favorite patrons, but a woman named Nancy Iverson has been looking after the library for a long time, and she wrote a letter to me, Mrs. Pagaran, and the board, reminding us that it will be the 25th anniversary of the opening of the library. And she is really hoping that we do something fun. It's in January. So Dr. Chris and I have been recruited by Nancy, and I reached out to the library today. So hopefully in January, coming soon, we'll have a library open house, or at least some kind of celebration of 25 years of a partnership in literacy. So that's from Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. She used to come to our board meetings and advocate for the library. Yeah. That's it for our superintendent report.
Thank you. Superintendent report.
October is a very busy month, so I have quite a bit. First of all, I'm going to thank Molly. Molly, we've all referenced what an amazing carnival it was. It was the first one in 3 years. And when you said Friday night, I've done 27 of these. I said, oh, really? She was right. It was the most well-attended. It was awesome choice. She's, I think, going to speak to the details a little later, but it was fun for everybody. I left midway, and there wasn't a parking space left. It was a celebration of being back to normal, I believe, and so thank you. And Molly and the PTO aren't done. Coming October 22nd, Jen, is a Spreckels family costume party. Extra credit for science. Really? Extra credit for a science thing? No. But there will be costume party, photo booth, DJ, movies, games, food, and more. This is the first time we've done district-wide. We're going to use Buena Vista just because it has more outdoor space. And all families welcome. And you can go to our website, and I think there's more information there. You can sign up. We need volunteers, too. And in Jen's honor, we just locked into an agreement with the Ariel Theater to celebrate LCAP Goal 3. We are going to, working with, thank you, Jen, for the introduction, working with Ariel, we're going to have 2 special Spreckels-only showings of A Wrinkle in Time. It's going to be free to our parents and our family. Again, it's part of our LCAP, so the district's going to take care of that contract. And more information to come. There'll be a sign-up, but for family, for kids, Wrinkle in Time, it's a book everybody sees and reads. So thank you, Jen. This is your going out in style, bringing LCAP 3, Goal 3 to life. And communication news is one of our goals, too, to continue to broadcast all these fun things and be transparent and keep the community up to date. We are just launched a brand new website on that cue. And I want to thank Dr. Brianna Gann, who our new IT director. Brianna pretty much, she asked for pictures and things like that, but she would just say it's going to be launched in October, and we're just like, okay, and it's awesome. And please, it's the same website, correct? The same URL? So you don't have to find it any other way, but when you go there, it's much more user-friendly, it's much more informative, and thank you, Dr. Gann. In academics, we're quickly approaching the midway point in the trimester, which means at BV, we passed out progress reports yesterday, have fall conferences coming up, same thing at Spreckels. Both schools will be resuming our bridging tutoring program at the end of the month, specifically the week of October 24th. Right now we're finishing data collection to identify the kids that most need it. We're recruiting staff to, again, we use our own staff, which is a huge advantage because they know exactly where the kids are. And we will be sending out invitations the next few weeks. And finally, on a more serious note, we are in the process of setting up 2 district parent nights and or student assemblies, depends on how the conversations go, on a couple of topics of recent concern that came from the parents. One is the rainbow fentanyl epidemic. I'm not going to scare everybody, but we need to be aware of what's going on. So I'm working with a local doctor who's going to come and do a parent night, and again, not to scare anybody, but just to inform. The second one actually has to do with human trafficking, and very similar. That came from a parent, and our parents are great because they put me in touch with people that can bring presentations, so it makes my job easier. So thank you to those. More information to come. Teresa gives her, says hello from afar. She's out of town. And her Spreckels Elementary update. They're in full swing, and many parents and grandparents are flooding the classrooms to volunteer. We're back to normal. 3rd grade has taken a field trip this week. I think half of them went today and half go tomorrow to the First Mayor's house. I've never been there. First Mayor Salinas? I need to go. So they're going. There. Teachers had a Playworks training yesterday. Playworks is like it's not a PE curriculum, but it's a program that really integrates life skills and learning through play. Many of the activities are less competitive than what we're used to, and they use conflict resolution strategies. When you watch them train, the kids will stop and do Rochambeau instead of like argue over I'm out or I'm safe. So it's kind of cool. October is also anti-bullying month, and many activities are planned, including the back wall, the posters. They had a bucket filling competition. And lastly, student council campaigns are going at both schools. Mrs. Jones is overseeing ASB, and that's, as Mr. Dodd said, very creative campaign, we would call it, Mr. Dodd, creative campaign. And they're doing the same here. They call it student council. So that is it. October is a great month, and we are back to normal.
Okay, thank you for all that. Suef, we have Suef here tonight? That's next. We don't have Suef, though? Okay, PTO? Yeah, please.
Just
I
press
think-
and, press and hold until it goes red.
It may have been already on.
Yes.
yeah.
So for Sue, she did ask me to announce that they are doing a hoedown this year, so it's coming back. So
Same time of the year?
it'll be next year
Like
before the
April
school.
or?
It's in May. I have it.
It's in May.
Okay,
There's a
cool.
like
I know.
penciled in calendar.
All right.
Okay, so for PTO, I'm Molly Jansen. I'm the PTO president this year. And our goal this year was to build community through creating inclusive, fun events and fundraisers. And so far, we've done really well with that. And we're also really working on clear communication for PTO, similar to the district. And we are lucky enough to have a really great social media manager and website manager. So our website also is up to date and very helpful. So yay, that's nice.
And you can find it on our website. You go to ours, you could go to theirs.
Yeah. And that's what the parents over the last few years, it's been really challenging. We haven't been able to do a lot due to COVID. And so this year we're kind of back to normal. And so we're really trying to be as inclusive as possible. And the good news is parents are volunteering. Parents are really getting involved, and it's really nice. So we had our first event, which was the carnival. We had over 40 volunteers that were parents. We had over 50 volunteers that were high schoolers, 40 plus volunteers that were BV students. So we were getting the community involved, and it was really positive. To give you an idea of how successful the carnival was, in 2019, huge success of a carnival. If any of you went, it was great. So we profited $9,500 and we split it between PTO and Bobcats. This year, we profited $14,700, and we haven't even gotten all the money in yet.
Wow.
So that's an additional $5,000 in revenue that we brought in. So needless to say, we ran out of everything. The lines are really long.
Yes.
So we will learn from that. And going forward, we have it all set up for success for next year. So that's really exciting. And our next event, which is coming up, and I brought a little flyer, is our costume party, which once again is going to be an inclusive event. So it's a fall costume party, and we're really excited. We're going to be giving out 24 awards for the costumes. So each grade gets awards, and the families gets awards. Even the middle schoolers, if they come dressed up, can get awards. So we're really excited and trying to be as trying to really build community back at our school, because it's a great community. And that's why I chose to move to this area, is so that my kids could go to this school. So anyways, and then one other thing I wanted to share is that we just finished our fall fundraiser, and it was a huge success thanks to the families. And so a big thank you to all the families who participated and shared their fall festival. And we had a large percentage of families that participated this year, and we're looking to probably profit about $35,000. And that's huge because that helps send our kids on field trips and supports the teachers, and so yay. And two more things and I'm done, I promise. Holiday Shop is back this year. So I'm not from here, but I've heard that it's been going on for at least generations, if decades for sure. And so it's going to be back this year, and we're really excited about that. And then our spirit wear, just to give you an idea, our spirit wear, we've sold out multiple times this year because everybody is so excited to be back and be part of the Spreckels family.
You need more double X's.
Seriously.
I tried during Carnival, but
So it's super fun. So COVID's gone, but it's not gone. So we're doing our best. So we've got more coming.
Thank
so
you.
Anyways, thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have Bobcat Club here tonight? No? Okay. Thank you. Moving on to business. Information. September fund balance report, please.
All right, so we will start on page 10 of the agenda, and this represents transactions through September 30th. We are tracking with a balance on the expenditure side of 18% available, and revenues, we've only received about 13%. So if you look at the actual column, you can clearly see the importance of that healthy reserve that we retain, because in this snapshot, we're leaning on it in the tune of $1.1 million. The budget line is the budget that you'll see later as an action item that represents the final hiring. So this is where we anticipate being now. We'll see our next budget revision around first interim. We've got some programmatic things we're going to bring to you probably in November to start talking about the changes, primarily on the revenue side of this budget. But of note as well is you can see the beginning balances have been posted. There was concern about what happened to these balances a couple of board meetings ago, and I want to just bring to your attention, as I explained to you that night, that there is a process within the county office to roll forward cash balances, and as you can see, beginning fund balances are posted across budget, actual, and of course encumbrances. If you have specific questions, please let me know.
Any questions from the board? Michael?
No
Chris?
que-
Stephanie? Jen? I don't have any questions. Let's move on. Program update, starting with facilities.
So with the facilities, this week was exciting at Buena Vista. We had our basketball, the inspection we did a few months ago. The corrective actions were conducted yesterday during the school day, and the BB kids did a great job staying out of their way. They had a little lift. It wasn't too...
It's still there. It's going to take today and tomorrow.
Oh, it's 2 days. Okay, I thought it started yesterday.
Kids are curious. What's going on? So it's been
Yeah,
fun.
no, it's good. It's just such a great safety measure. I'm just so relieved it's finally happening. All the new bleacher seats have been installed, so next time you're in the BB gym, you can check that out as well. We're starting to talk about getting ready for rain, doing some winterizing. We know it's coming, the rain. We're hoping. But it's definitely been a little challenging because we have, due to the food service driving, we've lost our maintenance person at least 2 hours a day because he's supporting that until the position is filled. Although Heather helps out on occasion as well. And it'll be nice to get that position filled and get Jaime back to the sites on a regular basis. Next 2 weeks from this Friday or Thursday, today, we have our annual facilities inspection by NorCal Relief, which is our property and liability carrier. Our loss control manager will come out and do a very thorough inspection, and we've been answering the questionnaire that we have to submit before they arrive, and Eric, everyone's been helpful on some of the things that I'm not sure about that are happening on the sites, but we hope that inspection goes well, and if not, there'll be corrective actions that help guide us to our next project. Food service, I'd love to jump
Coming
into
from
food
another
service.
district during the day, I just know you need to get rid of all couches and beanbag chairs. That's coming.
We did that already.
Good. Then you'll pass inspection.
No, and lava lamps and
Yes.
Christmas lights on plastic
Rogue
trays
refrigerators and microwaves,
and
et cetera,
space
et cetera.
heaters. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We've actually done a good job on those kinds of things. But food service, I'm looking at my phone because Carrie sent me the count this morning. This was her biggest breakfast of the year at Buena Vista. 151 students. 151 students. That's almost half of the population participated in the breakfast program. I mean, her counts are just outstanding. The highest lunch looks like it was 148. So breakfast outpaced lunch today. And if you haven't seen it, just go by, check it out. It's really, they've created this lovely little cafe. I watched the kids go through yesterday. The count yesterday was only 109, but they literally got through in probably about 10 or 12 minutes. The kids are so aware of what their role is, and yeah, it's really quite
that was one of our
something.
concerns about, not concern, but how are we going to get that many kids off the bus to school through the lines, and
Yeah.
it's working out.
Yeah. So on the self-op program that we're hoping to investigate, we have had very challenging, we have not had success. It's been very challenging finding a consultant to have a conversation with us about doing a self-op. I did speak to the County Office of Education, and they don't self-op. They contract with ALISAL, again, because of their population, their student counts. And So I'm going to keep trying. I've reached out to the California Association of Child Nutritionalists who support all school lunches, and we'll just keep working on it to see if we can get some guidance.
Okay. Is that it for program update?
I think we should mention the transportation, the route changes. Hopefully the parents saw what's coming.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, or Eric, you can take it. Or
So, the first thing is, JR, we lost JR, but we also have had trouble filling past bus driver positions. There's a labor shortage, and it's real. Heather did a wonderful job trying to ease the pain, and try not to cut the routes, get everybody here, but we had to consolidate. So yesterday, email went out pretty detailed, and it took Heather probably days, hours to put together. So we just want to thank our parents for understanding that we're doing what we can, the best we can. I went to a job fair today at the Salinas Adult School with flyers and applications for bus drivers, and if you know somebody who wants to be a bus driver, please send them our way, because it does affect everything. It affects consolidation of routes, it affects the food program, go on. So, yes, but we are lucky that Heather is so dedicated and creative that we got 90% of it done, and made some calls for the 10% that are probably going to be impacted the most. So,
Thank you.
no.
Thank you. Let's move on to class configurations, please.
So these are the counts as of last Thursday, and we actually dropped one in total from Spreckels School, but it's holding steady. Yesterday was the California Basic Educational Data Day, also known as CBEDS Day, and it is a snapshot of enrollment and program eligibility. I'm sure Jennifer will be refining that document. We'll bring it to you in January. It really is the first assumption that we use to start building budget for the subsequent years, because it's going to tell us, are we classically declining enrollment, what's happening with our supplemental, our unduplicated pupils. So the fact that we've been holding steady since really the beginning of school, August 10th, we were at 929, and September 29th, we're at 928. That's a good sign that kids are coming and they're staying. But we'll continue to watch it every month.
Okay. Any questions from the board on class configurations? No? Okay. Oh, you want to go back up to that?
Yeah.
Sure.
About the BV new outdoor area, the field, et cetera. So I know we had talked about at one point that we were going to have some kind of acknowledgement celebration, ribbon cutting to...
Yeah, and then what happened is that the fences were up until the day before school, so it kind of, we could still do that if that's the board wants to do. Dr. Oppenheim would come and Steve and Dr. Oppenheim could do it. The kids are using it. I don't know at this point, having ribbon cutting a couple months later.
I believe
the timing didn't work out, that's the bottom line.
Could be a soft opening already and then do a grand opening later.
Eric, you probably don't remember, but we're doing the murals in Thanksgiving, and we were going to wait till the ball walls were painted with the bobcats and the paws and all of that.
Sounds like a perfect opportunity to do a grand ribbon cutting. Is that such a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Perfect,
Okay.
perfect, good. And then I don't know if we want to talk about it now, but further down in the consent agenda, it looks like they're with the update for the toilet project. So I don't know if we want to.
On the consent agenda?
Well, it's in there, so it wouldn't be something we would discuss. But I wonder if we just talk
You
about
can
the
pull
update.
it and discuss it.
Or we can just do an update.
I can give you a quick update
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
COVID has hit the project, unfortunately, so we do have our superintendent of the project has been out. We didn't actually have our weekly meeting this week. And then we have had some underground utility issues, which is what's in that consent item, which is very common anytime you're replacing, repairing over an existing structure. The good thing about this is that we will have as-built when we're done that actually show us, a sink was discovered draining to nothing. It was just like draining out of the back of the building. Luckily it was a sink and not a toilet, so But things like that have been discovered, and that's part of what you see in the consent, the corrective actions for that. And the other delay has been, I didn't want to push forward with those corrective actions until it came to the board. So with the movement on the consent tonight, we'll get those things done, and that should be relatively quick. And then the building will determine the delivery of the building, which we may intentionally move to the week of Thanksgiving, so there's no students here and we don't have to worry when they bring the crane in.
Alrighty. Okay. Moving on to number 4, MCUE review of the budget and the LCAP for this school year.
This is just the notification to the board that they reviewed as they're required to, and they agree and approve. The budget is actually something they do approve, offering their comments, of course. They recognize our very healthy reserve. They recognize that settlement has not occurred with any of the negotiating, the bargaining units. And then they also bless the LCAP, which they reconcile back to transactionally the budget.
Any questions from the board on that? Okay, thank you. Moving on to action. B1, Energy Services Proposal and Contract Draft between Spreckels Union School District and Surco Energy Solutions, Inc. pursuant to California Government Code 4217. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's been seconded. Staff?
So this is it. This is the executive summary for the project that we started last October when we first brought to you the request to do a feasibility study and basically an audit of our systems across all districts that had potential for energy efficiency improvements, which is what ties to that Government Code 4217. It's important to understand that connection because this is what we are, this is a energy efficiency project. And basically what we do is look to see if there are improvements that can be made, and then through the savings of energy, PG&E bills is the primary one, of course, if we can do capital improvements that are net cost to the savings that the replacement of some of these antiquated systems will bring. This particular program also incorporates for the first time in our district the use of solar. It's something we've talked about many, many times, but pulling it into this is where we actually see the bulk of the energy savings. And then we also qualified for a grant from the state of California called the CalShape grant, which is tied specifically to air quality in classrooms. So we have a couple of guests here. I know the facility committee members met Gabe and Chad from Surco. They gave the last detailed presentation to the facilities committee, and we're at the point now where we're asking the full board if they're interested in moving on to start financing this project, which the net cost to the district 2.5, the work itself is 2.8. There's a lot of detail in the work, whether it's HVAC, whether it's solar, whether it is load management, where we're figuring out, we're installing equipment that when we leave at night, the chargers of the Chromebook chargers don't stay on forever.
Right.
There's a lot of detail, and maybe Steve and Jen, you could speak to the role of the committee or kind of guide us. I've got these gentlemen here to answer detailed questions if that's what we want to do, but at this point we're ready to see the pleasure of the board to move forward with the project.
We'll see what the board has questions about.
There you
I'll
go.
start down with Dr. Scott. Any questions?
I did have a question, and it was about the placement of the solar panels. And I was wondering if alternatives, I had the same concern that was mentioned earlier about, that was where kids play.
That was actually one of the topics that the facility committee went back and forth. Nobody liked losing any part of the field. I think about a fourth of the field will have to be solar panels. I'll let the guys talk about it, but that was one of the questions asked. Is there any other place to put them? Buena Vista was a pretty easy fix. It was a park, what do you guys call that? The structures?
Carport.
Up over the parking
structures,
lot.
kind of like the MCOE has. So the concern was Spreckels, that quarter of the field, and we went back and forth kind of weighing long-term
We
gains
went-
versus that. And the answer, could we put them somewhere else? Why don't you guys take that, if you don't mind?
We also shared all of the options with the site principals. They were involved all along the way, where we were showing them what about on a structure over the middle of the campus, like a carport kind of thing. We talked about the portables, but we really it doesn't make sense to invest in putting them on these portables that 15 years from now, 12 years from now, whenever the next bond measure is passed, to actually deal with the portables, which will fall under the development of a master facilities plan, because that is about enrollment, housing. This is about maintenance of systems, and it just didn't make sense to put these panels that will outlive the useful life of the portables. And
There you go. All right, next.
Wait, can I ask? I have another question.
Let's go
too.
one at a time down, and then we'll come
One
back.
question. Okay, sure.
We'll come back, unless it's related to the first.
No, it's not
Okay,
related. It's
we'll
a
come back to
different
you. Trust
question.
me, we will. Chris, did you have any questions about the project?
Not really a question, more of a comment. When we put in the solar farm at CSU Monterey Bay, the folks that were actually putting it in came in and did a dynamite set of lessons in my class for the students that wanted to know about that. Can you guys come in and do some of those presentations for the middle school and for the elementary school to help them understand what's going on and
How it all
what's going
works?
on into that construction part? Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's a great educational opportunity that I wouldn't want to miss. Yeah. Okay, your turn.
Stephanie?
Well, I too was very, to be honest, shocked and concerned about seeing the solar panels put on the field for Spreckels, knowing, how that's used for the children. So, yeah, concerned about the solar panels on the field for Spreckels. I have a number of questions. One of them is, where are the funds coming from, the 2.5 million?
yeah, it's called the TELP. It's a tax exempt lease program that schools are eligible for. It's financed over, I think we're looking at between 15 and 16 years. The final cost will be driven by the interest rates, which we all know the volatility that's going on currently with interest rates. But the intent of the project is to have savings recognized equal to the payment, if you will, the monthly or the annual, it'll be a biannual payment of the lease, the tax exempt lease program.
Isn't there a graphic in the package showing that?
We are recognizing the grant, and we've pulled that off. We already applied and are qualified for the grant. It's $199,000. We pulled that off the total projected cost of the project, and so then it leaves you with what's leased. And the goal is that last year, for example, PG&E was $172,000 across the district. And the goal would be to get the annual payment close to that number so that it's not a bond measure, it's not a COP, another funding source that has different implications than this tax-exempt lease opportunity.
Okay. Jen?
I want to thank you guys for working so hard. I was very frustrated with the field thing, Like is there any other way? What else can we do? And you guys were very thorough in reporting that you tried everything. And the way that you explained it made me understand that you really did. So thank you. It is a frustrating situation. I wish we could buy all the land, right? Maybe in the future we'll be able to do that. I don't know. Like, where do we go from here? My question is, I'm concerned about the buses. If we have to go to electric buses, is there any way, like if we have to put up any stations or anything for electric cars, does that tie in? I should have asked this before, and I'm sorry, but does that tie into these?
We actually talked about
I'm sorry, I should have
in
asked.
the original scope. No, we actually had like EV charging stations,
Okay.
like for people who drive electric cars,
Yeah.
right? And we recognize, or we determined at the time that was of a higher need in our particular district than these other projects which upgrade our systems.
Yeah.
As far as electric buses go, for our district, at this point, it's not deemed a logical execution because of the route design.
Okay.
We've actually looked at it several years ago when Janie was here. We did a very thorough analysis. Of
Veronica, can I interrupt you? I'm sorry. I meant not for now, but in the future. Like, say, because these are supposed to last a long time, right? So maybe 10, 15 years from now.
I see.
That's I want to make sure I'm thinking ahead, even though I
Okay.
won't be here.
Neither will I.
Yeah.
God willing.
Right. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So if we had to, 15 years from now, would we be able to pull power from these to be able to, I don't know if that's an answerable question, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that was it. Thank you. Thank you, Veronica.
That's okay. Yeah.
I don't have a question. Going back to Mike.
Yeah, the question on page 5 of the report, 26 of the agenda, there were some cost savings estimates, and I wanted to know how certain those numbers were. And the other question I had in terms of what would be the bounds, the upper and lower bounds of those estimates, and the other piece is, as the future, as the equipment wears out, what's the sort of, I guess that would be, I just want to make sure I understand, that would be part of the operation and maintenance costs that would be already factored into the savings. Is that correct?
The operational savings that are shown in the report, those are based on future cost avoidance in terms of, for example, if we install LED lights, we won't have to change out as many light bulbs, incandescent, and things like that. So it's not actually taking into account labor or anyone's salary within the district, anything like that. It's just the cost of maintaining the antiquated equipment that would be avoided by installing the new equipment. So that's how that's calculated. And what was the first question?
The first question was sort of what are the uncertainties in the estimates? Yeah.
No, so we use industry best practices for all these energy savings calculations, and the dollar value you see is based on your current average annual utility rate.
Okay. And what about the, so that's for both gas and electric. Okay, thank you.
Chris, did you have anything else?
No, I was going to ask that.
Oh, okay. Stephanie?
Piggybacking a little bit on what Jen was saying, that idea of looking into the future. And so, you reminded me, going back to goal 5, I believe it's goal 5 of the LCAP and this planning for the future, the master plan, to know, how what we do today is going to affect tomorrow and what we may want to do tomorrow in the future. And so, that's my comment, my question. How do we? This feels like a really big project. Not only, dollar-wise, big, right? And when you go through the whole packet, it's more than just those solar panels. It's a lot. The HVAC, et cetera. So that's where I feel like this is a big, big decision. How is it going to affect us in the future? What we do now. We don't know because we don't even know what we want to do in the future or what it may look like in the future because we haven't planned it. We haven't had those conversations. We haven't documented it. So that's a major concern because, I mean, thank you for answering that it's financed, but still that is, debt for this district.
Jen? I don't have any questions either. Michael, do you have anything else?
No.
Chris?
Nope.
Stephanie?
No.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Wait. Okay, so can we clarify what the motion is?
Yeah, it's written right there. We read it. I think you seconded it.
So, yes, I did, and I read it.
That's the motion.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 I'm an aye as well. Any nays?
Nay.
Any abstentions? Motion carries 4-1-0. Moving on to next motion. California Schools Healthy Air Plumbing and Efficiency Program Notice, Proposed Award of Governing Board Resolution 22-22-4. I need a motion by roll call vote for California Schools Healthy Air Plumbing and Efficiency Program Notice of Proposed Award and Governing Board Resolution. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Staff, do you have anything on this before we take a roll call vote?
No, it's related to the project above,
Mhm.
and it will begin it's the first collection of paperwork that we needed to submit our assurances for the grant.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Starting with Michael?
No questions.
Chris?
Nope.
Stephanie?
No.
Jen?
No.
I don't have any either. I'll call the vote then. Chris? Jen?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Stephanie?
Aye.
And Michael?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0-0. Need a motion to go into public hearing, please?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of going into public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 5-0-0. We're in public hearing pursuant to Education Code 43509. The Governing Board of Spreckels Union School District will hold a public hearing on instructional materials sufficiency. Thank you, guys. I don't see anybody stepping up to the podium, so I need a motion to adjourn from public hearing.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
Since seconded, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0-0. Going on, number 3, Resolution 22-23-3, Textbook and Instructional Materials Compliance. I need a motion by roll call vote, please.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
And seconded. Staff, do you have anything on this?
This just says we're in compliance with our textbook adoption.
Roger that. Any questions from the board on that?
Nope.
I'll call the roll call vote. Chris?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Stephanie?
Aye.
And Michael?
Aye.
And motion carries 5-0-0. I need a motion to adjourn into public hearing, please.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor of going into adjourning into public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? We're in public hearing pursuant to Government Code Section 3547. Negotiations are not permitted until proposals have been made to the public. The Spreckels Union School District Board of Trustees will provide time for public comment on both the district's and STA's collective bargaining proposals to open up Article 16 transfer reassignment for the 22-23 school year. Anybody want to step up to the mic? Seeing none? Okay. Motion to adjourn from public hearing, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? We are adjourned 5-0-0 from public hearing. Number 4, consideration and public notice on Spreckels Union School District and the Spreckels Teachers Association collective bargaining proposals to open Article 16 transfer and reassignment for the 22-23 school year. I need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Staff, anything on this?
This is just separate from our typical sunshining that we do with the union because we jointly agreed that we wanted to address something in this article. So that's why we're having another public hearing, if you will. This is a joint opening, mutually agreed.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 22-23-5, final hiring budget revision. I need a motion by roll call vote, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Staff, did you need to speak to this at all?
This represents all the hiring to date, and it's different from our adopted budget. And then, of course, we did a 45-day revise. So I'm sorry, I'm lagging on the page numbers here, trying to keep up with how fast y'all are going. But let me just get to the last page because you can
I
see.
think we're going fast enough, but okay.
Okay, well.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's good. It's late. I'm ready to wrap this up too. But I just wanted you to see that the increase on the revenue side with the final hiring and the state adopted LCAP revenues increase, we have an increase of $604,000.
Okay.
So very good news.
Before I call the roll call vote, any questions? Mike, Chris, Stephanie, Jen?
No.
Me neither. I'll call the roll call vote. Chris?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Stephanie? And Michael? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to the consolidated application for this school year. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Staff, anything?
This is routine in nature where we identified the uses of our federal dollars through the consolidation as consolidated report, hence consolidated application.
Okay. Any questions from the board? No. I don't see any. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 5-0, assuming there's no noes and no abstentions. Doesn't sound like there are. Moving on to curriculum instruction, information action. Character strong instructional materials grades 6 through 8. I need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Staff, anything on this?
You want to pass that out?
Sure.
Our LCAP goal 1, action 12 talks about looking into and researching an evidence-based social emotional curriculum. You're going to hear this over and over, but getting a counselor at both sites is probably the best thing the board's ever done. Our counselor, well, the counselor at Buena Vista Middle School did a needs assessment with the kids, and from that, she identified stress management, academic skills, post-secondary and career awareness, and self-confidence as the 4 main needs. And she went ahead and found curriculum, state-adopted curriculum that matched up with that. And so she's something, you got to meet her, but she's already pushing into health classes once.
Hopefully Thursday.
Maybe. Well,
Maybe.
she's been doing health classes once a week. So, and she'll do this for the rest of the year on specific lessons that you see in your packet.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's great. And again,
All right. Let me check in with the board here. Any questions from the board, Michael?
Nope.
Chris?
No.
Stephanie? Jen?
I love this. No questions.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. I have no questions either. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to personnel, information, action. Bus/food service driver job description first read. I need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Staff, anything on this?
this was done for 2 reasons. Number one, because we have the new food service delivery need, but also to hopefully attract a bus driver. The more hours would hopefully make it more attractive versus the 4 hours. So that's what you see.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question on this?
Of course.
I think it's been unclear to me or to many people of what it takes to be a bus driver.
It's not easy.
So the training, I'm sorry to have that. I just
No,
want
it's a great
everyone to
question.
know.
That was
so
asked
that
of me
if
today. I
someone's
didn't know the answer.
thinking about it, because it may be intimidating. So So 20 hours of learning the bus. And as far as, just general safety type stuff. All the safety.
Also general knowledge, like you need to know to drive your car, as well as first aid.
And first aid.
So once you're done with those hours, then you'll take 4 DMV tests.
Take 4 DMV tests.
Once you pass all those, then you're qualified to get your permit.
Then you can get your permit. I'm saying it because I know we have people at home too.
And then you have a minimum of 20 hours behind the wheel.
Oh, 20 hours behind the wheel
With the permit.
with the permit, with the training.
For the training.
Get behind the wheel, you do many hours of training on your pre-trip inspection, which we do every morning before we get out, which is basically
Oh, nice.
seats, windows, check oil, brake pressures. We have 30 minutes a day that we do that before we even leave.
So if someone was interested in doing this, they could come along and contact the district office, and then they could come for a ride and see what it's about and see that it's doable. And you retest only every 5 years. Nice, only every 5 years. Right. Okay, thank you, Heather. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you for recruiting out
And
there
that's
in
what I felt like too. It was a
cyberspace.
recruitment pitch. I should have brought you today to the job fair.
All right. Any other questions from the board on this matter? Okay, then all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? The motion carries 5-0-0. Moving on to the 22-23 provisional internship permit application for Pierre Bernasconi. And is it Rochelle or Rachel? Rachel Wilkinson. Is there a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Staff, anything on this?
This is just one of the flexibilities the state gives us to get teachers in the classroom.
Right on. Any questions from the board? None? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0-0. Moving on to Administration Information Committees updates, starting with Citizens Bond Oversight Committee.
So the last meeting, we brought you the roster or the membership, and then we set our first meeting. We had it on September 27th, held virtually. Again, it was a mix of members from the past or from the original versus new members. So at that meeting, we kind of went over the history of it, Measure B, how the dollars have to be spent. We talked about some of the reasons we're reconvening, the issue about since the last time there's been money spent. We reached out to the MSUE to figure out, okay, what's the best way to handle that? And they gave us two options. That's correct. One is to just do a budget transfer and start fresh, or, and Veronica itemized pretty much to the cent every dollar that was spent since our last meeting. And we presented that to the Bond Oversight Committee, and basically, they didn't vote on it, but the idea was if you agree that these were consistent with the bond, we can go ahead and approve it and move forward. What one member, actually the chairperson, asked to do was our next meeting have a kind of a walk the sites and see exactly where that list, for example, projectors, computers, things like that.
The door.
For Measure B?
Yeah.
Yeah, the safety
And so
box.
the idea would be if once we do that and they take a look at the list, then they would vote either to approve about what, 200,000 or so?
Yeah, it's a little over 200,000. So we just basically took every transaction, put the vendor name, the purpose, and when we designed the agenda for this first initial meeting, we didn't intend to request an action item because it's too much information for someone, I think, to comprehend in one meeting. So we intentionally designed it that way, and they appreciated that, and also, like he suggested, or he shared that Mr. Burbank requested a site visit. So that's great. We did that when the committee first formed. We did a site visit and talked about the projects that were part of Measure B. So in the next couple of weeks before the November meeting, we will reconvene the committee on a site visit, and we'll include in that, that will be an in-person meeting. So then after we do our site visit, we'll gather at the district office and have a discussion if they're ready to make the decision whether to transfer from the general fund back to the bond fund or not, and then start talking about the remaining uses of those dollars. Whether we transfer it, the 200 plus or not, there's still $500,000 in the bond fund. And Brianna's got some ideas. We've got some from the very original plans with the replacement, refreshment of technology that would be expired. So that will be the work of the committee after we get this initial issue resolved.
Okay. Any questions from the board on that? Michael?
No.
Chris?
No.
Stephanie? Jen?
Nope.
I don't have any either. Facilities Committee.
We, after the direction of the board, we held our committee meeting on the 23rd. It was the two of us, Veronica, Teresa, brought Jaime in maintenance. And we did a couple things. Sizerco, they were just here. They kind of gave us a presentation that we acted on. The second second item was to kind of recommend what the facility committee looks like going forward as far as the makeup, how often they would meet, is it Brown Act, and that's coming up pretty soon. So we met, we had a good meeting, and you'll see the recommendation in a second.
Okay. Any questions, Michael?
No.
Chris?
No.
Stephanie? No. Jen?
No.
I don't have any either. Board self-evaluation discussion.
So the self-evaluation is the results are in, and we want to know your next desire. We could share them anonymously. We could have a special study session. We could wait till the new board's in place. Whatever makes more sense.
Well, if you wait for the new board and the board changes, hypothetically, you'd have to
do another evaluation.
You'd have to send the evaluation out again because the data might be different for a different set of folks.
I understand. Yeah.
So, now, I mean, we have one more meeting between now and the December meeting. And so I don't think that we're going to be able to get to this in that meeting. I think we should not say kick the can down the road, but I think we should start over evaluating with the new board. I don't think in their first meeting, maybe not in their second meeting, because some of the questions on the self-evaluation tool have to do with having spent a little bit of time on the board, not just starting off, if there's folks starting off. And there's going to be at least one anyway. So I think we should consider running that again with the board. I'm thinking maybe in the spring at the earliest. I don't know what y'all think. Michael, what do you think?
That makes sense to me.
Chris?
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit earlier.
What were you thinking?
No, I just didn't want to push it too far down the.
So we end up in the same spot where we are right now? Yeah.
So, yeah, do a study
Like
session.
a March situation, maybe? April, March?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is March not spring? Okay.
I don't know. March 21st, I guess, right? What do you think, Stephanie?
That sounds fine for the next round. Since we have this data, you had mentioned just sharing it with us.
Yeah,
anonymously,
we could
and
bring it
might as well.
informationally next board meeting.
Yeah, it's easy to
It
read.
is, yeah.
It's not.
It's color
You can
coded.
look at it in
So, I
20
mean,
minutes and see the whole thing.
So there could be maybe something that we could
Yeah,
pull
there's
from it.
there's some things to
for
check
the-
out. There's some things to check out.
So we'll just bring the data
That could
informationally
easily
next.
apply to any board, not just a different board.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So March, maybe run it again, and then share the data that we have with the current board.
In November?
November packet.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, then that'll be the order of the day there. Thank you for that. And then action, Citizens Bond Oversight Committee membership revised.
There's just a real
I
quick.
need a motion.
I'm sorry.
first. Sorry. That's okay. You're trying to get out of here too, huh?
Yeah.
So moved.
It's moved
Second.
and seconded. Go ahead.
So just a real quick replacement. We found out our very favorite Lisa Belton was on it, and we realized that she's technically a employee of the district, which goes against the bylaws.
Yeah, I would say so.
Thank you, Ms. Belton. We replaced Ms. Belton with another community member, former teacher who lives in the district, and that's the name you have here. So it was just to be clean with the bylaws.
Okay. Any questions from the board on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0-0. Facilities Committee recommendations. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved
Okay.
and seconded. Staff?
So this slide looks similar to the last time, but we went ahead and made questions into statements and added a little bit. So it talks about basically the purpose is really to carry out goal 5, and through that process, inspections, determine priorities by gathering information, then do a survey of the community, and you can read for yourself. The meeting schedule, we meet at least once per trimester, but if the need arose, we meet more often. Project type would really be capital improvement. Maintenance needs to happen in real time, and to call a committee meeting every time we need to do an inspection of the basketball courts or replace a gutter doesn't seem to be the best use of anybody's time or running the district. Membership, we are recommending the members that we talked about last meeting, but also adding a representative from the unions, so they have a say in what's going on. We are going to gather community input through the surveys, so we feel it's going to be wide representation. And then continue the best practice. Every contract that we sign, you see high or low. And then finally, it's Brown Act, so it'd be posted on the website, agendized, all that. So that's the recommendation.
Okay. Did I get a motion? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. It's been a long day. Any questions from the board? Michael?
I do have a question. So what came up earlier with the master plan, can you explain to me what the requirements of having a master plan are for the district?
I would like to actually bring the AR and the board policy to you in a board meeting because it's frequently quoted and there are nuances in the language. For example, it says may or shall, which drives the requirement. My interpretation of a master plan is if you are buying land because you're growing and you're going to build a new school, or you're adding classrooms because you're growing and you have to address your capacity issues. When we did the last bond measure, we did a facilities assessment and financial analysis. That was the title of the document. Maybe all of this wouldn't be happening if I had named that facilities master plan. But that's the nuance that I'm speaking to you of in terms of the board reg, the board policy. So I think it's time to have that conversation because there is just so much misinformation and, frankly, accusations of not following our own policies that we need to address.
Thank you for that.
Chris?
Are you asking me if I have any questions?
I believe so.
Okay, no.
Stephanie?
Why it doesn't stay on. So in regard to the membership, so the invitation to STA and CSCA, so would those people be representing the union?
Yes.
Okay, so not.
And they'd appoint their own.
Okay, so then is there a space for staff, faculty, teachers to be able to have a seat where they're not fully representing the union, but they're bringing?
Well, if it's board, if it's a Brown Act, Brown.
It's going to be a public meeting.
It's going to be a public meeting. They
Anybody
can come
can.
and,
With public comment and everything.
But as a seat on the membership?
They're going to get a seat each, but anybody can come, including their rest of their members, if they want to attend a public meeting and fill up public comment slips. It's going to be like a board meeting, only smaller scale.
Okay, so, but only the members will have a vote, right?
It's a committee made up of those folks. STA is going to have one. CSA is going to have the other. I don't know how to explain it any more differently.
yeah,
I
the
don't, maybe I don't
representatives.
understand your question. Could you restate your question in a different way?
Maybe. So would the person who is sitting in that spot be representing, like, the union? They would
Yes.
be speaking for
Absolutely.
everybody.
The
For
union-
example,
the union will
yeah.
appoint whomever that is to take that seat.
Right. So is there an opportunity for there to be a seat for staff, teachers who are not necessarily representing the union, but being a voice that can be coming to the?
Can I ask, wouldn't that be a conflict? Because they're telling their representative what they want, and that representative represents all of them and can come to the board and say, it would be like if we had a CSEA member come tonight, and then a teacher comes up and talks against them. That CSE member is supposed to go to their entire community and bring what the community wants.
I can give you an example in real time. So the calendar committee has representatives from both unions, and their job, for example, the teachers would have one of both sites. We go over the recommendation of the calendar committee. They go back and they vote on their sites. So everybody has they have a say, but that one representative's job is to speak for their group.
Okay, so then that helps clarify this. Because when I had originally, when we talked about last month, represented staff
Mm.
and teachers.
That's
No,
STA.
I know, that's
No.
what I'm saying. Now this is even better. Now I see this where this person
It's like representative democracy, essentially.
will have the authority, sort of.
To
like
speak for
they'll
that
be the one
group,
who will
yeah.
speak for
Mhm.
kind of that group, as
Yeah.
opposed to something that's more informal. This would be more formalized, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for,
Well,
for,
it's a public meeting now.
No, but I mean, they'll be in their capacity there more formally because they're
Yes.
representing.
Yep.
Yes, representative democracy.
Right.
Yes.
So that,
Yep.
thank you.
You
That's
got it.
Much clearer, and
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
And the other question.
Well, let me see if Jen has any questions.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Jen, did you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Michael, do you have anything else?
No.
Chris? Okay, Stephanie, go ahead.
So what about families who are represented in the community?
You said something about a survey, right?
yeah, but the idea would be to gather as much community, families, other community members' feedback through surveys like we have before. I mean, we're just trying to make a realistic, a membership that's realistic to meet, that represents everybody, and tools like surveys to gather more information.
Again, if I could reference back to the last time we went through a bond issue, bond measure, we started with a similar group of staff stakeholders, and we developed the survey from that group, and based on what their priorities may or may not have been at the time. And then we sent that out to the community, and the results from the survey started to then narrow down the language of the bond measure. Things came up that we gleaned from the survey, but we didn't need parents at every meeting to get representation. That was accomplished through the survey.
Mhm.
And then that set the priorities of what the language of the measure became.
And having two board members on there listening to the survey, it's the board members' responsibility to listen to the public and provide that input, pay attention to it.
LCAP, Equity Committee, the Reopening Committee, all of those committees, which I'm assuming it's similar, I mean, this is a similar type of committee, they all had families represented, parents, caregivers from students. So what's the difference?
So this is also, remember, this is going to be open so parents can come. Those LCAP committee and those are meetings that are held and not everyone's invited. This one, everyone's invited.
It's a public meeting,
That's a big difference. I don't go to the LCAP meetings, I'm not invited.
right?
But this one, I can come to, and if I have an issue and I want to talk about a facility as a parent and a member
During
of this
public comment.
community, I will come to public comment, or I can write to my school board member that's on the committee. Or I can go to my principal and say, hey, principal, I've got this, or superintendent. We have so many people that we can contact to be our voices. And if they
That's-
don't represent you,
Yeah.
you come to the meeting and you represent yourself again. You keep going at it until you get what you want. That's what I've noticed at these meetings.
Okay, going on to, back to Michael, still nothing?
No questions.
Chris?
I'm good.
Stephanie?
Well, I mean, I just say, we talk about community engagement, we talk about wanting to engage
I'm
our
good.
families. I know that they can come and speak at these meetings, but it would be nice, I think, if they had somebody on in the membership of a vote that represents the families that we serve. So
Jen, did you have anything else?
I move to call in question.
Oh, you're calling a question?
Yeah.
Is there a second to call a question?
Second.
That's not debatable. All those in favor of calling the question, please say aye.
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 I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? One abstention? Motion, the question is called 401. Now to the original motion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays?
Nay.
Any abstentions? Motion carries 410. Moving on. Motion to, I need a motion for the transition to CSBA Gamut Policy plus Assembly Policy Manual first read. That
So
was a
moved.
lot. It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Staff, anything on that?
We're actually going to bring in one of our favorite all-time board presidents, employees, community members, Lisa Belton, who does our policies, and she's really spearheaded this, and she's going to walk us through, like, policy memory lane, right?
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. And since it's late, and I know people are getting crabby, and really the only two people in this entire room that care about policies are Veronica and me. For some reason, we think this is fun, but nobody else really does. I know most of you, you know me, but even if you didn't know me, or if you guys don't know me, hopefully you know the policy updates and the policy update guide sheets that I prepare to go into the board packets every few months. That is what I do as a retiree annuitant now, and I'm here to tell you about this transition that we're making from the current platform, which is on Google Docs, to a new one, which is on Gamut Policy Plus, with the goal of making that process of updating much easier and more efficient, and also making access to the public just better and more current. My experience with policies goes back to about 2001 when I was a board member. From 2001 to 2009, I was in your shoes, and I was reading first reads and then doing the approval the month later. From 2012 to 2019, I was human resources, and I used policies in my work to figure out what I needed to do to handle certain situations. And then, and also as the executive administrative assistant, putting them in the board packets and helping getting onto the website. And then finally, after I retired, starting in June of 2020, I've been updating the policies remotely as a retiree to keep them current. So to start off, I know you guys know what policies are, but I'm just going to say it. Policies being a very integral part of what school boards and school board members do. They are the rules and guidelines developed by an organization like a school board to help reach long-term goals. So they're sort of an overview type of vision. And then ARs, the regulations, are sort of the steps, the timelines, the guidelines for getting to the policies. And then exhibits are maybe forms or checklists or things that kind of back up that regulation. Not all policies have regulations, not all regulations have policies, not all policies and regulations have exhibits. But when we were going through this process of transition, we reviewed all of our policies, and there was about 1,500 pages of all of those things. So again, only a few people in this world would ever like anything like that. For some reason, that's me. To update policies, what we do is we use CSBA, California School Boards Association, and that's a professional organization I know you've all heard of that provides resources to board members and to school districts. And they do the very important and very laborious, and I don't know how any school district would do this on their own, job of coordinating with the legislature to take all the new laws, all the changes in laws, and put them into the policies and into regulation language. Weed out the ones that are no longer good and put in new ones as they come up. The process that we've used just quickly over the past however long of policies, I brought a visual aid. This is how policies used to be done. This is the 1,000 to 4,000 series. There's 1,000 to 7,000 and then a 9,000. They skipped 8 for some reason.
They're literally typed, aren't they?
They're literally typed. Yeah. And this had a 1971 date on it. That's the second volume. And I don't know how they did this. Somebody typed it up somewhere, and they sent it here, and somehow someone had to put it into a book. And so the staff would have to, through the book, know where the book is, or books, and they'd have to look it up. I don't know how, first of all, how they kept it current, and secondly, I don't know how the public would access that, because even if the public knew that it existed, they'd have to find somebody that had a book to look it up. So I'm sure they did the best they could. When I was on the board in the early 2000s, it somehow got on to computer. I don't know how that all happened, but we hired a guy named Jim Philpott, my predecessor, who for 17 years as a retired superintendent did what you see. He tracked the changes that he got from CSBA. He did it for us and for Salinas High. And then we would make our comments, and then he would update to the final. And he'd put on a website. That was his website. I don't know. It was a website. It doesn't matter. It was very hard to keep up to date, and again, it was a little wonky for the public to get to. Then, when we had Measure B, and then we were able to get technology expanded, we had our own website, and we converted to Google Docs, and then we started putting all of Mr. Philpott's documents onto that. And that's what you've been seeing. So when he retired and I took over, I started putting those updates on the Google Docs. That's where administration gets it. I'd put it together in a PDF packet for you guys. You would see it, and we'd go from there. Then I would do the updates, and then I'd work with technology to get it on the website, and I had some other places that I kept updated to make sure that we always had the current version. Very laborious, very time-consuming, something technology did not want to deal with. It's just had too many fingers in the pie, so to speak. And so now what we're hoping to do, well, last year what happened was Google Docs changed the way they had access to the public. So even though the public could access it on our website, there's something happening, don't ask me the specifics, but it's not like it was. No. And so we had to find a new way. And the new way was to go to what a lot of districts in this state do, which is they go to CSBA's policy platform. It's called Gamut Policy Plus. And that's what we're going to go to. That's what we're transitioning to. So what this will allow us to do is hopefully do all of the edits. I'll still go in and look for the edits and do tracking, but hopefully you will be able to look at them online, edit them, make your comments online, and then once I do the finals, after the final read, it'll just go onto the platform, which cuts out so many steps I can't even tell you. It's very exciting. And that way we can really make sure that it's always current. It'll be very easy access for you guys, for staff, for the public, and you'll even be able to see other districts' policies. I think everyone can see that. I'm not quite sure. You probably can. I'm not sure about the public, but I think everybody can see it.
Yeah, everybody can.
Yeah, I think you can all see it. So that's terrific. So what I've done in preparing for this transition, your job is really the same as it always is. We're doing a first read this month, and then there's a final read in November to do the transition. So the different parts of the transition are this. Most of the 15 or so 100 pages are things that since May we've been looking at and saying, okay, is the policy A from June 2014 the same as on Gamut, policy A, June of 2014? Most of them are yes. We were really up to date. I'll toot my own horn. I had us up to date to the beginning of the school year. And so they're just going to go over. So nothing on your part is needed. There's a packet that you have in there that's going to be the deleted packets. These are things that were rendered obsolete by the legislature. Some of the themes were rolled into the policy or into the regulation only. Some maybe have language that's found in the bargaining agreement or some other document. Some applied only to secondary and not elementary school. And some may have been previously deleted, but they were still on the website, and I wasn't sure what that area was. And so they're on this list. And when you look through the list, if you look through the list, you'll see that a lot of the dates go back to the 90s. They're just really out of date. And these are they're gone. You're just seeing basically what's going away. Then there's the updated non-guide sheet changes. And those are things that I found that had significant changes of meaning, not just wording and grammar. And for the most part, I was able to show you the tracking of what was different. For example, maybe we had a policy that from 2014, and it had a 2018 update, but we missed it for whatever reason. Now we're updating it to that. And if I can show that to you in tracking, I do. If it's just like two different documents, I show you both documents. Okay? And then I wrote some messages on there to try and clarify, so forgive just the handwriting. Typing was just out of the question. And then in some cases, I can't see it on the website, and I'm not sure it was approved, so now's the time. It might have been 2018, and for some reason, we just missed it. And then the final 3 packets are the last guide sheets. Because I've been doing this through the year, through the spring and to current, there's been we were finishing up the December updates. We had a March 2022 and a June 2022. And so those are all separated out. Again, you'll see the guide sheet, and it's exactly what you're used to doing, looking at it, reviewing the language that's in there, and then giving me any comments that you want to give me. I'll incorporate it, and then we do a final read in November. So my final thoughts are this. Your question to me might be, do I have to read all of this? So the answer is no. You don't have to read every word. Again, trust me on the 1,700 that are just transferring over. I've gone through all of them. And you may be interested in policies or regulations, but really that's not what our goal is here. It may be a little bit in these March, June, and December, but it's not in like the deleted and the non-guide sheet. Those technically have probably been approved somewhere along the line. We're just verifying it and putting it online. You can always later, if you have time and you want to produce, you can go back and decide things that you want to bring up, and we can always bring things back later. But for the time being, what we're just trying to do is go platform to platform and get to the other side. We do have a September 2022 update that I haven't done because that's going to be the first test one. And again, the whole idea is to try and do it all online. If it does work for you, great, and we'll do it that way. If it doesn't work for you, we'll look at your suggestions at that point and go from there, decide if we have to do it differently. But overall, being on the Gamut Policy Plus is going to be a real benefit for this process, not taking so much staff time and making it much more accessible to everybody. So, and any questions about that?
Let's find out.
Okay.
Mike, you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Chris?
Act 2. What does gamut and assembly mean, those
Okay,
two words?
so gamut is just the name of it. I think they just think it's like it runs the gamut. That's
Okay.
my impression. Do you get any other idea? Yeah. Policy Plus. Assembly, I don't know if it stands for anything, but it's the software they use to do gamut. So when we're going in and we're making the changes and using what I've been using is Word, I think now I'm using Assembly.
I'm a wonk, so I like this kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Yeah.
You do read policies, so I know you kind of like them
Yeah.
too.
Stephanie? No. Jen?
No.
I have a list of 99 questions.
Yeah, you do. Sure you do.
I'm good. Thank you for your work.
Okay. You're welcome.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries 500. We're at the time for consent. Unless someone wants to pull something from consent, I need a motion for consent.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor of consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Future agenda items? Anything to add there? Scott, Michael?
Nope.
Chris?
No.
Stephanie?
No.
And Jen?
Just the,
Self-evaluation.
yeah, thank you, self-evaluation.
Oh, yeah, right. And then I don't have anything. And therefore, I need a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carries to adjourn at 8:48 p.m. We are adjourned.